Hello， 大家好，我是静。那今天的影片呢，我想和大家来讨论一下网络霸凌和骚扰，特别是针对 YouTube 简中圈的一个现象啊。那之所以会聊这个话题呢，是因为我昨天刚刚出席了 Google 新加坡的一个反网络霸凌和骚扰的一个活动。那这个活动呢，是有很多重要的人物出席的，譬如说有我们新加坡信息部的部长Rahari 女士，还有这个新加坡 Google 分公司的总裁也是有发表他的分享和讲话的啊。然后呢，还有一些在新加坡做得非常成功、非常有影响力的 YouTuber 和一些在网络上已经遭受网络霸凌和性骚扰的女性 YouTuber 的个人经历的分享，是让我受益匪浅，也进一步的了解到，其实 Google 和新加坡政府都是尤为的重视这样的网络霸凌和骚扰的啊。那因此呢，他们就希望所有的博主以及相关领域的技术人员，大家都走到一起一起极力的把这个网络环境做到更加的安全，让我们的低龄用户可以有一个更加安全的上网的环境，让他们看到的内容是适合他们的年纪的啊。那就这一方面呢，Google 也做了很大的努力，那他们呢是推出了只要是和 Google 相关的产品，譬如说 YouTube、Google Family， 你只要把你的低龄的小孩加到他这个 Google Family 里面去的话，那你的小孩在上网的时候他所接受到的推送给他的内容都是只适合他这个年纪层的内容，那就可以有效的去保护他们曝光在那些不良的内容的面前啊。除了 Google 以及他的技术人员在后台的保驾护航之外呢，其实我们父母和这个内容的创作者，同时也是网络的使用者，我们也可以尽大家的一份力去帮助去保驾护航，把这个网络世界变得更加安全干净的一个网络环境。那作为父母，我们其实不需要把这个网络世界和社交媒体视作洪水猛兽啊。那我相信有很多的现在的父母呢，其实都是70后、80后、90后的，或者是00后的啊。那这几代人呢，其实并不是出生在一个信息化的时代的，可是我们的后代，他们一出生就是 digital generation， 他们出生的时候就已经有这些高科技各种的社交媒体了啊。那所以说，如果说你打算让你的小孩与外界、以社交媒体、以网络世界彻底的割裂的话，彻底的断绝的话，其实也是非常不现实的。因为他作为一个 digital generation， 他一定是要去学如何去面对，如何去正确的使用，如何在这个复杂的网络世界当中去保护他自己啊。他是需要有这种能力的，因为他们就是生在这样的一个时代当中啊。那可能是因为我们这一批父母是出生在网络时代之前的，那因此呢，很多的父母他们本身在这方面的知识也是比较缺乏的。其实说白了，父母也是一个网络小白，他可能在面对网络霸凌和骚扰的时候，自己也会手足无措啊。那这个时候他们也不知道该如何去保护、去教育他们的小孩，在网络的世界当中去保护他自己啊。那说到这个内容的创作者啊，内容的创作者呢，其实我觉得就是这个网络安全的一个制造者。为什么会这样说呢？因为所有的内容它不管是好的内容还是不好的内容，它都是由这些创作者创作出来的。每一个影片和一段信息后面都是由一个真实的人在后面操作的啊。那因此呢，其实我们想要制造一个更加安全、更加文明的网络环境，其实我觉得最根源、最根本的是要从这些创作者去入手的，去提高创作者的综合素养，让他们知道哪些话、哪些内容是适合传播的，哪些话、哪些内容是犯法的，是不可以随便讲的，是会伤害到他人的。这个是个非常重要的一点啊，因为如果我们可以从根源上 去提升创作者的综合的水平的话，那些低质量的不良内容它就会随之减少，甚至被淘汰啊。那以上是我对昨天的活动的一些总结和看法啊。那下面呢，还想和大家来延展性的讨论一下，我作为一个 YouTube 的博主1年半以来，我最真实的感受啊，来谈一谈 YouTube 简中区的一些种种的问题，譬如说这个网络霸凌、网络骚扰，这个其实是一个非常非常严重的问题了。我为什么要把简中区单拎出来探讨呢？第一个是因为我自己做的也是中文的内容啊，那我的观众也是中文的使用者啊。那第二个就是呢，在 YouTube 上只有2大内容是主流，一个是英文的，一个是中文的啊。我是有看英文的内容和中文的内容的，但是呢，我发现一个非常有趣的现象啊，就是中文的内容的观众也罢，创作者也罢，普遍性都是处于一个法盲，就是不知道这个言论自由、言论的边界在哪里，法律意识是非常的薄弱的。在网络的世界里，他觉得他躲在键盘的后面啊，做一个键盘侠，他可以毫无忌惮的去攻击、去辱骂、去骚扰其他人，他觉得人家找不到他，他不用负任何的责任，所以说他就把这种戾气，他这种怨恨，就是各种负面的东西、邪恶的东西，都全部的散布在网络世界当中呢。这种情况不单单只针对那些 haters， 就是那些键盘侠和网军，也是在YouTube 中文圈的博主之间也有这样的问题，因为 YouTube 中文圈啊，就是现在大部分的博主啊，你观察一下，除了台湾的和新加坡和马来西亚本土的博主之外，其他的其实80%、90%都是来自于中国的，受的是中国的教育，传播的是中式的思维和意识形态和行为模式啊。那这样一来呢，就有一个非常非常严重的问题。我们都知道，中国它从始至终都不是一个法治的社会。其实从中国出来的人，他不管在海外生活多久，其实他的法律意识，他对言论自由的认识，他对尊重和这个民主的认知都是非常非常浅薄的。如果你不信的话，你去观察一下啊，就是有很多自称移民10几20年的老移民了啊，其实3句不离本，他的核心价值观还是老中的那一套啊，就是黑社会的思维模式啊。那如果说你是我这个频道的老观众，那应该知道我在过去的3个月当中是遭遇到了4位中文博主、男性博主的网络霸凌和骚扰啊。那具体的细节呢，我现在不方便透露啊。如果你有兴趣的话，可以去看我往期的影片，我当时是有做影片去澄清、去反驳、去讨论这个事件的。那现在呢，因为我在走法律程序，我就不便去讨论他们，也不便去透露太多的细节啊。那我就想通过我自己作为一个博主的亲身经历，和大家去探讨一下啊，就是现在这个中文圈的这个生态是多么的恶劣，多么的糟糕，简直是乌烟瘴气。那到底是什么导致了一个这样的情况呢？我思来想去，我总结出来了一个原因，就是人，就是这些内容的创作者，他们本身都是有问题的啊。为什么会这样说呢？因为这大量的都是来自于中国的，包括我自己也是在中国出生长大的啊。我以前也是和他们一样的思维、一样的行为模式，但是我在过去的10几年当中，我极力的打破自己，我极力的去掉自己身上的滋味，极力的去强迫自己融入到这个民主的社会当中去做一个文明人啊。但是呢，事实上，这大量的从中国出来的人呢，80%、90%以上啊，他们终其一生都是老中的行为模式和思维模式啊。他们出来做博主之后，他们变成一个这个意见领袖之后， 他们对这个 YouTube 中文圈和这个民主世界的破坏和伤害以及污染是巨大的，是举足轻重的，因为等于说他们把中国的那一套就原封不动的搬到了 YouTube 上。譬如说我这几个月遭遇的东西啊，那老观众应该都知道，我是做新闻评论、政治评论的。那我在做这些的时候，肯定我会发表一些我对一些事件和人物的看法。那我发表的意见都是基于对某一个事物、某一个现象、某一个新闻事件的看法，这个是言论自由。但是大部分从中国出来的博主，他们没有这个概念，他们首先是一个法律意识、民主认知极其薄弱的一个人，可以说都是法盲。譬如说啊，网络霸凌和骚扰我那几个人，他们其中有2个我之前是完全都不认识的，都不知道有这个人的存在，他们就突然的跳出来对我做了一系列的霸凌和骚扰以及人身攻击，就是非常低劣、非常淫秽的编造了各式各样绘声绘色的黄色小故事，去到处散播，说的好像真的一样啊。那另外的2个博主呢，我之前对他们进行了他们的言论和他们某些行为的一些评论，因为他做了一个这样的事情，他发表了一个这样的言论，我基于他自己的行为和言论去做了我个人的评价。这个时候他们炸毛了，他们没有办法在有理有据的，在基于就事论事的这个层面上去反驳我，去给我做一个合理的探讨，去让我知道啊，我的观点是错的，我对他的评价是不正确的。他们不会去做就事论事的讨论，一上来就马上抹黑，然后就说你是一个妓女呀，然后编造了各种的完全是莫须有的一些谎言，捏造了各种的东西去骚扰我、霸凌我、攻击我。他们都是非常有影响力的博主，都是有20万到50万的订阅者的，加起来接近100万的订阅者啊！这就是我在过去3个月当中所遭遇的这个网络霸凌和网络骚扰啊。那有的时候我真的是在想啊，如果说我的性别不是一个女性，假如说我是一个男性的话，可能我不会面对这样的霸凌和骚扰，恰恰是因为我女性的身份。因为中国，你不要看现在许多的女性说号召女权啊，其实她们完全不懂得女权的意思是什么啊。就真正的女权，我们要的就是男女平权，大家是平等的，这个就叫做女权啊。女权的真谛是平权，而不是特权啊。那其实呢，在中国现在女性看起来非常的有地位，其实她们还是没有地位啊。说句不好听的，我们可以通过中国女性索要高价的彩礼的这个行为，以及她们始终极力的想去嫁一个好丈夫啊的方式，去做男性的附属品，找一个长期饭票的一个行为，就可以看出啊，其实他们的地位一直都没有进步的，和100-200年前是没有任何的区别的，只是说现在不用裹小脚了，现在他们打着女权的名义，活在一个男权和父权的社会之下啊。那正是因为中国的这个父权男权主义的思想，这些从中国出来的男性的博主，他们也把这些思维带到了 YouTube 上，带到了其他的国家。当他们成为一个具有影响力的意见领袖，一个博主的时候，他原本应该利用他的这个影响力去传播一些更加符合这个民主社会价值观的东西，但是他们却选择去传播中国的意识形态、中国的价值观、中国的男权主义，霸凌女性、贬低女性、攻击女性。这大量的 中国出来的男性的博主，我不是要制造性别对立去批判所有的中国出来的男性博主啊，我要特别强调一下，我只是说大部分的人，他客观上事实上也存在这样的问题啊，我不是要去批评全部的简中的男性博主，还有一些是非常不错的，是真的有融入到民主价值观当中的。可是呢，非常遗憾的是，大部分还是那个尿性，还是那个德性，女性在他们眼中，第一反应就是和这个性直接的画上了等号。他一看到你是个女性，马上就想到了交配。就是在他们的眼中，除了吃就是睡。当他们和女性的博主或者女性的观众有任何分歧的时候，他们第一反应条件反射式的，不是去有理有据的反驳你的观点，而直接上来就是一顿人身攻击，一顿羞辱，用性去侮辱你，去羞辱你。一上来就是人身攻击，说你的样貌丑啊，你年纪老啊，你身材肥呀，然后诸如此类的，就是非常的不堪，非常的低劣。说句实在话，我也看大量的英文的博主，也看很多英文的观众他们的留言，我感到非常的羞耻和遗憾的是，中文语境当中和这个英文语境当中啊，这个观众和博主的这个素养和水平是天壤之别啊，有非常非常大的差距。确实，任何的语种当中都有一些特别低劣的人，但是你们要记住啊，英文世界里面，因为这些人他们一出生就是在一个法治的社会，他们至少有这个意识，我今天在网络上讲这个话啊，我要对我的言论负责任。他们不会像这些中文博主、中文的这些观众一样，就是完全的无知无畏、毫无忌惮啊，就是以一种黑社会的一种行为模式去攻击、去霸凌、去骚扰其他人，尤其是女性博主、女性的观众。为什么呢？因为这些人啊，他一看到一个女性，他马上就如泪高潮了，马上就想到了交配。而且更加可怕的是，他的订阅者、他的观众也是和他是一种人。这个时候，当有一个这样巨大影响力的人啊，去发起了这样的霸凌、这样的性骚扰、人身攻击之后，他的影响力是无限放大的，因为他有这么多的订阅者和他一样的价值观，他会无限的翻倍、无限的传播。这个是一个非常非常可怕的现象，这种现象只存在在 YouTube 简中区，非常非常的遗憾。台湾的博主、台湾的观众，他们的法律意识也是非常强的，新加坡的观众也是一样，你要为你的行为和言论去负责任的情况下去表达你的言论自由。那英文的世界里面，他们的法律意识是更加的强了。那所以说，当我做了这个 YouTube 博主1年多之后呢，这就是我最深切的感受。我感觉到啊，就是这不同的用户群和博主群之间的巨大的差异，这个差异啊，我觉得是很难弥补的一个差异，一个非常可怕的一个生态链正在 YouTube 中文圈当中泛滥开来。我真的不知道如何的去阻止这样的一个趋势，这样的一个生态进一步的去恶化下去啊！那我真的是希望有更多的文明的男性博主或者是女性博主，大家都勇敢的站起来，对这样的网络霸凌、网络骚扰说不，大家一起来创造一个更加干净的、更加安全的 YouTube 简中区，把那些不堪的污垢都淘汰出局，因为他们是这个文明世界当中的蛆虫，他们只会污染这个简中区的环境啊。那这是我对 YouTube 简中区的一些个人的感受啊。那我也和这个 Google 新加坡的 CEO Mr. Banking 有聊一下啊。 我昨天呢，其实是非常的幸运呢。一开始呢，我去参加他这个活动呢的目的是为了去和我们的信息部部长 Rahayu 去谈一谈我个人的遭遇啊，我所遭遇到的网络霸凌，和骚扰以及各种的人身攻击啊，是一个非常非常严重的一个事情了啊。那后来呢，他的 schedule 是非常的忙，他一讲完话之后，他很快的他就离开了啊。那因此呢，我是没有机会和他有任何的私下的聊天。可是后来呢，我非常的幸运，我在那个自助餐区意外的撞见了这个 Google 新加坡公司的 CEO 啊 Ben， 然后当时我就赶紧冲过去抓住他，然后做了自我介绍，然后把我个人的遭遇和想法和他简单的分享了一下。那 Ben 呢也是非常的有耐心和友好的倾听了我全部的吐槽和分享啊，真的是非常非常的 friendly and nice。他真的是非常好啊，而且还很帅啊。那聊完之后呢，还跟他一起还拍了照，真的是非常的荣幸啊，有机会和他去畅聊。那后来呢，他还给了我他的联系方式，他说我可以把我这个遭遇和我这个案子啊发给他，让Google 去好好的看一下，看他们能如何的去帮助我去面对我现在所遭遇的一切，我真的是非常非常的感动啊！还有再来就是呢，我也真的是希望 Google 提高一下他这个博主的门槛和要求啊，也就是说，不要让他是个人都可以出来，号召一堆傻逼，然后去做一些坏的影响，一些不好的传播，就是去伤害其他的人。我觉得这个是一个非常可怕的事情啊，真的是需要提高门槛，把那些法律意识薄弱就是喜欢毫无根据的去做网络霸凌、人身攻击的博主，全部都清理出去，这样子才能从根源上去创造一个更加安全、更加健康的简中区的一个生态啊。那这是我的看法啊。那在影片的最后呢，还想和大家来分享一下我昨天参加这个活动所拍的一些影像，和大家来分享一下这个 Google 的 CEO 他的一些分享，以及我们新加坡信息部部长 Rahayu 女士的个人的分享，还有新加坡的各个博主的分享，我觉得是非常的精彩，我们一起来看一下。
Hello. Hi everyone. A very, very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Safer with Google 2025. Firstly, I would like to extend a special welcome to our guest of honor, Minister of State for Digital Development and Information, Madam Rahayu Mazam, for taking the time to join us today. And we're also very delighted to have our esteemed partners and guests with us. I'm XX from the Singapore Communications team at Google, and it is my privilege to be your MC today. So as we spend more time online, we all want to ensure that our experiences are safe and empowering. And online safety is a priority at Google, and for years, we have continuously stepped up our commitment to creating a secure digital world through our products, programs, and partnerships. And today, we'll share new steps we're taking to protect youths online, and you'll also hear from our partners and creators on how we can join forces to create a safer digital experience for all Singaporeans. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite Ben King, our Managing Director for Google Singapore, to the stage for his welcome remarks. Ben King.
Hi everyone, welcome to the office. Wonderful to have you here. It's wonderful to have you here. This is our third actual Safer with Google. You know, it's actually an initiative that we kicked off, a few years ago, based on, well, a couple of things. So first of all, there was a real concern about some of the things that were happening around Singapore, was happening around the digital ecosystem as it related to online safety, and the government were very leaned in to sort of helping us understand what those various different areas of concern were. And a really firm commitment from our company, from our company to take this seriously and try to respond. So this is our third edition, and I'd like to welcome Ms. Rahayu to be here at the office here. I think this might be your second or third time coming and joining us here, so it's wonderful to have you gracing our event. And it's also wonderful to have so many of you in the crowd as well. And I just wanted to express a really warm welcome to a range of different groups that we have here. We have our community partners, we have our experts, we have fellow parents, we have creators, and we'll talk a little bit about the work that the creators are doing in a moment. It's really encouraging to see so many people come together from so many areas around Singapore to really tackle what is one really significant and important issue, which is to keep our young Singaporeans safe when they're experiencing their online journeys. Now, the conversation that we're going to have today, it's one that's happening in households all around Singapore, regardless of the age of the children in question. We know that today's children, they're digital natives. We know they live in an online world. They're learning, they're creating, they're connecting in ways that many of us just couldn't have imagined at their age. And this has brought about incredible benefits. Now, if I think about my own home, my kids are 6. I have twin 6-year-old girls, and they really explore all these new topics that are in that area of interest for them at any given moment. At the moment, it's the planets, it's the universe, it's black holes, and I'm incredibly grateful for their help, because I don't know how to answer half the questions that they're asking me. And I'm sure all of you experience the same. Now, there's also other use cases. If you're thinking about helping your kids study online, maybe you've used tools like Gemini from a Google standpoint to help your kids with their PSLE prep. And if so, we want to congratulate you on helping your kids survive what is their first major exam. Now, I'm not Singaporean, but I hear it's quite arduous. Now, as a fellow parent, it also brings a new dimension to parenting. You've got these great opportunities, these wonderful, sort of new accesses to information and new ways of engaging with the world. But this new dimension can also be really challenging. It's a 24/7 challenge. And there's real and valid concerns that are being shared across the parenting community. In fact, a recent NVDI study, it showed that a lot of people are concerned. 81% of parents, they're worried about their children being exposed to inappropriate content. And I am 100% in this. We know that every family's relationship with technology is fundamentally different. It is a very unique experience. And that's why we've developed tools like Family Link or YouTube supervised experiences that helps parents and children manage their family's unique relationship with technology and with various different platforms that they're engaging with. And that helps them do things like setting screen time limits, guiding their online activity, and then managing content that they're exposed to from the very outset. Now, in addition, we're also helping parents to close the digital literacy gap. Now, something that we launched many years ago. Actually, the team of folks that have worked on Safer with Google launched this Be Internet Awesome program, I think 4 or 5 years ago. It's in the hundreds of thousands of children and parents that have been reached over the years. We're very proud of the program. But it helps teach critical thinking and resilience and the fundamentals of good digital citizenship.
Like I said, it's really, really important for us to also gain insights from esteemed panelists who have joined me today. So before we get into the questions, I'd like to give some time for our panelists to just quickly introduce themselves. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the panelists as well, but just hear from them what exactly that they do and what work that they focus on as well. I think we can start with Ms. Rahayu.
Thank you very much, Henry. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Such a pleasure to be back again at Google. I come here very often and I'm happy to learn of the development. Each time I come, there's good news and there's a lot of effort in this space. I'm from the Ministry of Digital Development and Information. So on one part, as the government, we know that it's important to set regulation and laws to make sure that people are towing the line, set certain standards. And we do that by our code of practice, which we've already put in place for the designated social media services, and we also have one for the app stores. And we also have to look at how we can educate the public together in that endeavor, and we do that also in different forms. We work through schools by teaching the children through their curriculum about the way they should behave online, how they should be safe online. We work with partners to also make sure that they educate parents and also create that culture, academics as well, so that we understand what are some of the upcoming trends. we also work with social media platforms.
I think I'll start with the first part, which is how it has, how it started and the whole, journey of it, right? So I think it started very small. It started with comments in my comment sections, followed by other people's comment sections mentioning me. Then it went on to DMs, it went on to emails, and eventually it went on to full-blown image-based sexual abuse. And I think that was the most extreme part of it. I haven't experienced another wave, which is what I'll get into in the next round. But I think it's pretty on, it's very one-to-one, it's very personal. And although there were other forums that came up as well discussing certain topics, most of them were very skewed towards the sexual end or more derogatory side, maybe calling things out like your physical appearance, weight, etc. And thereafter, I think how it has progressed, right, and changed is that I was just talking to another panelist and creator earlier that I think it has now gone into a more sinister space, right, where it is very almost rage-baity, almost wanting you to respond and wanting you to react to it. So I came across a few instances of different friends who have gone through the same issue, which is that people were, using deepfake AI to replace their faces on top of videos of other people that were not them doing very suggestive things. And I think that's the extent of where I've seen the harms, at least in my circle or in my own lived experience, right? I think this is what I can speak on. But yeah, it has evolved tremendously since then. They've gotten a lot smarter in the way that they're trying to trick the algorithm, trying to spell words in a different way, using like symbols to replicate certain letters. So I think they've been trying to trick a lot of these platforms in this way.
I see the struggle of my talents and I see the comments as well. So I have 3 techniques that I utilize personally, and it's something that I tell my staff all the time. One, as my AI therapists say, seriously, do not let them dictate your energy. Every single time you get affected, be it seeing a hate comment or walking to a room seeing somebody you don't like, say that to yourself. I think it's really, really helpful. I've used it myself. I think it's wonderful. That's one technique. Sounds easy, but make sure you practice it. It's really helpful. 2, my favorite technique of all time, delete the comment. Yes. I love it. I never thought it would be a problem. So I've been deleting comments for about 14 years, just saying. Mostly, when I first started, I was rarely in front of the camera, so I delete comments that's regarding my other talents. I want to protect them. I don't want them to see those comments. I see no point of them seeing those comments, so I delete for them. And then, thankfully, there's a moderator role on YouTube as well. So I assign some community moderators to delete those comments for me. I tell them, if you see anything that is nasty, that is bad, delete them for me before I see them, please. And I think that protected my peace tremendously because I don't even see them and my talents won't see those hate comments. And the last technique is called defend. But I'm not asking you to defend yourself because defending yourself with a bully is meaningless. They drag you down to their level and they beat you with experience. So let's not do that, yeah? Defend means wait for somebody to defend you. I don't know if you have experienced this the last time that if you see a comment that's defending you, that feels so good.
Feels amazing.
That feels so good. So,
amazing.
Right? So justice might be late, but they will arrive. So have trust in that. So that's my personal experience.
For 14 years, I think I also grew rather thick skin. I feel that if someone is really happy with their life, they wouldn't be leaving negative comment. So instead of feeling angry when I read negative comment nowadays, I feel sympathy for them, like, oh, you must be having rough in your life. So I don't feel that angry anymore. Yeah. So I would say, you can as content creators, when we create content, we put ourselves out there. We can't stop comments from coming in. You can't make the whole world like you, but when you think about it, you don't even like everybody. So I guess that's okay. Just don't try to please everybody then. Yeah.
Fair. I agree with you on that. Andrew, what about you? You get a comment saying your taste in bak kut teh is horrible.
This is subjective.
I think the thing I would emphasize on is self-awareness. You have to all in on your self-awareness. The more you know yourself, the less power negative comments will have on you, and the more you can tell where these comments are coming from, whether it's from an unhappy person. So if it's bak kut teh, right? If you have done your homework, if you have cooked your own bak kut teh, if you have gone and researched and asked people about bak kut teh, you wouldn't be really affected if people say that your taste is bad. Your taste might be different, but at least from my perspective, I bring value in trying to teach people about the dish. So that is how I would exercise my self-awareness.